Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Saturday before the Zohr Salat, Saturday the 2nd of Ramadan 1444, corresponding with the English date 25th of March 2023. Hazrat Wala starts off by quoting the surah of the Quran Majid. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, Ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. This Majlis here and the silsila of having a talk and a discourse before the Zohr Salat has been continuing from this practice from many long years. You people have undertaken difficulty and presented yourselves, and you have came, and this difficulty that you may have undergone and underwent, if you have accepted it, or rather you should accept it with was'at qalb, with an open and a clear heart and a mind, there would be great benefits. Normally in this month of Ramadan you would find many people going for Umrah, many people going to Makkah Mukarramah, Medina Munawwara. That is something very, very great and a great opportunity. Here people also have come and presented themselves. They don't just come like this. Rather Allah Ta'ala chooses them and then they come. Many women folk also come, like how we have the talibin, males, seekers of the truth. We also have the talibat. Allah Ta'ala reward them all handsomely. وَالذَّاكِرِينَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا وَالذَّاكِرَاتِ. And those males who abundantly carry out the dhikr of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and those females as well. What is in store for them? Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has kept in store for them أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا, maghfirat and a great reward. You know, we have been given the hukam that we should pay the laborer before his perspiration dries. If this is what we are asked to do from the side of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then what is the generosity of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? We can't even imagine it, that what will the generosity of Allah Ta'ala be towards us. So Mubarak to those males and females that have come and underwent some type of difficulty and have come and presented them here with themselves here. Allah Ta'ala give me also the tawfiq and the hidayat of fulfilling your rights. Shaykhul Mashayikh Hazrat Haji Imdadullah Rahimahullah used to say to the ulama of Deoband that used to come and spend time in his khidmat, that you people have come, you have talab in you, you are better than me. You are better than me. You have come in the search of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Both were great luminaries and great walis of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Haji Imdadullah Muhajir Makki on one side, and Hazrat Shaykh Fadlur Rahman Ganj Muradabadi on the other side. And they went and used to go in the month of Ramadan to go and spend time with Hazrat Haji Sahib in Makkah Mukarramah. We also realize that, and we learn and deduce from all of this here, that in the month of Ramadan, the distribution of fuyuz and barakat is to a much greater extent. This is a month. It is a great month. And remember, it will only come back to us after one entire year. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to say to us abundantly, kuch to hasil kar lo, kuch hasil kar lo, achieve something, earn something, meaning go forward, exert yourself so that you can get the nur, the ma'rifat, the nisbat of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. In the month of Ramadan, he used to go out 2 times to the civil lines, quiet area there, and he never used to go and take a stroll or a walk or to go and relax. No, he used to go expressly to carry out the tilawat of the Quran Majid. You know, his normal routine was that he would read one manzil every single day. But in the month of Ramadan, he would make one khatam of the Quran every day. Nevertheless, I heard these things from the Buzurgan-e-Deen, and I'm passing it over to you as well. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to remind us of all of this here. He would say that, address me and say, go into the khanqa and go and ask them, did they read the dua on the sighting of the moon? And especially in Ramadan, did they read the dua on the sighting of the moon? And then I would go and ask them, and seniors, even arbab-e-ilm, those who possess great knowledge, would have not read that dua, many of them. Rather, many of them did not even know what the dua for sighting of the moon was. And then he would then remark on that. When you do not even read the dua, what do you then hope to achieve? What is in the dua of sighting the moon? The time of the dawning of a new month. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all good and khair and barakat. Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil yumni wal iman was salamati wal islam wat tawfiq lima tuhibbu wa tarda. Oh Allah, let this month dawn upon us bil amni wal iman, with peace, safety, security. Was salamati wal islam, and peace, and with Islam. وَالتَّوْفِيقِ لِمَا تُحِبُّ وَتَرْضَى رَبِّي وَرَبُّكَ اللَّهِ. And O Allah, let this month come upon us with inspiration, with tawfiq and the hidayat to do that which pleases you. Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Wala thereafter quotes the incident of a great muhaddith who was living, a great sheikh who was living in the vicinity of a very great traditionist and a muhaddith. So they asked him, Hazrat, have you been to the Majlis of this great muhaddith? He says, yes, I've been there. And I learned from him the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, min husni islamil mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'ni. From the beauty of the Islam of an individual is that he abandons that which does not concern him, useless, futile talks, unnecessary things, that does not concern him, he abandons that. So, he says, I've not been able to practice on this completely, so I did not have the courage to then go into the presence and the khidmat of the muhaddith to go and then take the next hadith. So here we have gathered in the masjid. So we should most definitely keep this in our mind, that there is no type of useless and futile talks here. Rather, this is the month of Ramadan. It is the month where we have hamdardi, ghamkhari, we share the pain of the next person. Rather, it is ithar, where we give preference to the next person. Hazrat Wala thereafter quotes the incident of a person who was in the khanqa and he was walking, he was sleeping, and then somebody came and trips over him, due to which his sleep is spoiled and he gets up. But he becomes angry, and then he says, are you blind? Can't you see where you're walking? Are you blind? Nevertheless, he was a Saheb hal, due to which the words that he uttered came true, and this person became blind. They asked the Sheikh then, Hazrat, what to do? I said this and this person became blind. He says, no, the punishment for you saying that is from today onwards, you are his khadim. You do his istinja, you bath him, you change him, you do everything from start to end. Now these are takwini umur. It comes from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone said something and this happens and that happens. Nevertheless, they said, Hazrat, now what will we do? How will we make this right? They said, then okay, let this person come away and trip over you again, and then you should say something else this time. Nevertheless, the same thing is set up, And he does the same thing happens. And then when he trips over him, he says, he trips over him, and then he says, you can see and walk. You can see and walk. So then he started seeing and walking. That also came through. So you are talibin, you have come here also. I mean, that was the karamat of that buzruk. You people have also gathered here, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also bless you with these great high stages, etc. One person, one talib, one seeker of the truth is so weighty that he is given preference of this entire world over the people of this entire world. And that's what the hadith speaks of as well, that so long as there is one person who's taking the grand name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this dunya will then not come to an end. You make dua and your du'as would come true. Allah will accept your du'as. Allah give us the hidayat of fulfilling the haqq of Ramadan. The asal and the genuine and the original thing which we come back to is that of muhabbat. And in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we carry out ibadat. And all this ibadat that we are carrying out is solely so that we can get and create within ourselves this ajizi and this helplessness, this tawazu and ajizi, this expression of complete and total helplessness in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to the greatest extent, this is achieved when a person is in sajda, because he is the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Maulana Shah Fadlur Rahman Ganj Muradabadi used to say, if only when I pass away I would be blessed with salat, and that also with sajda in my grave, because that's the amount of peace and lazzat and kaif that he used to achieve and enjoy in his sajda and in namaz, that was his wish also, that when he would pass away he would be blessed with this in the qabr. So Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran, this is the month in which the Quran has been revealed. So even greater than that of siyam and fasting, it is that of the Quran. The gift of the Quran is the greatest ni'mat. So much so that the fasting has been prescribed and has been made farz upon us for one long month. Why? Shukran lahu, in appreciation and in thanksgiving to Allah that He has granted us such a great ni'mat as the Quran. Allahu Akbar. If some person after being given the Quran understands anything else to be greater than that ni'mat of the Quran, he has disgraced the Quran. He has shown very little appreciation, rather he has understood the Quran to be insignificant. Hazrat Wala speaks about the incident that he quoted yesterday as well, that when he went to South Africa, he was invited to a place where those people hardly met with ulama, and ulama hardly met with them. And then it was a time when we were going to start that majlis, but who will sit on the chair? Who will sit on the chair amongst all those people who we would say that they were prominent people, or maybe we would say they were people of dunya or wealth or etc. But at that time, who sat on the chair? It was a person from amongst themselves, but that person who knew the Quran. So virtue and privilege goes to the one who is attached to the Quran. So respect and honor to the Quran and to those who are learning and teaching the Quran. So keeping the honor of the Quran, istihzar of that in your heart, in your mind. After that, do whatever you wish to do, but always keep the azmat of the Quran in your heart. Hazrat Maulana Shah Waliullah used to say that the greatest ni'mat that hum kam tareen ummat ko mila is the Quran Majid, that we lowly people of this ummah have received. It was this greatest ni'mat The greatest ni'mat we could have achieved or received was that ni'mat of the Quran. So shukran lahu, Allah Ta'ala has prescribed and made fasting for us so that we can make shukr to Allah because He has given us the Quran in this month. So the greatest thing that has been given was the Quran, and thereafter Roza in thanksgiving to that Quran that had been given to us. Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb, in his Majlis, he would sit there on the charpai and on that bed, people would gather around him and sit on the floor. At that time, if a Hafizul Quran would enter and arrive, then Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb would then seat him on that bed next to him, showing honor and respect to the one who has the heart in his bosom. Today also, rather even in the month of Ramadan, as I am coming here, I am told about the bad character of Muslims, rather even in the month of the Ramadan. Yes, if we do not make irada, if we do not have intention and make an effort in this direction, then this abhorrent character will not leave us. So we need to make tasdeeq, acknowledge and understand, appreciate, verify, understand that this is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was zaruri, so I said it to you. Now, let us carry on. Let me at least make tarjuma of the Surah Fatiha. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to Allah, who is the nurturer of all the worlds, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most kind, the most affectionate. Maliki Yawmiddin, owner of the day of Qiyamah. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. You alone do we worship and you alone do we ask for help. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. So, all ulum and knowledge is found in this particular surah. It is the khulasa of the Quran. First of all, we are introduced to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we are made to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're making shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the Quran that He has given us. Here we are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, the first ayats that are there. And when we make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is then truly that we will make His ibadat. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb very passionately used to speak about Surah Fatiha, this mazmoon and special article of his. And then he would say, the entire of tariq has been explained in this particular surah. Rather, this nisbat-e ihsan, this quality where we worship Allah as if we can actually see Him, has been mentioned in this particular surah. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. You alone do we worship and you alone do we ask for help. So, one person asked Hazrat Shaykh al-Hadith, a very senior, prominent person, the name not coming to mind, Hazrat Wala is saying, he asked Hazrat Shaykh Zakaria Kandalwi that what is tasawwuf? And he said to him, I'm going on safar, when I return I want you to give me the answer. Hazrat Shaykh al-Hadith, samjhe hue the, he understood the suluk and tasawwuf completely. He was well versed with it. So what did he say? No. What are you waiting for the 3 days when you return? Rather, I will tell you what suluk and tasawwuf is now and now. The start of it is innamal a'malu bin niyat. Verily, actions are judged by the intentions, meaning rectification of your niyat, to make it khalis, only and solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the pinnacle, the heights of tasawwuf is what? أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه. That you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you can see Him. Nisbat ihsan. So you start off with tashiya niyat and you end off with nisbat ihsan. So this is suluk, this is tasawwuf, rather this is the maqsad of nubuwat. So acknowledging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understanding and recognizing our Creator, we send praises to Him. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So the more we would recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more firm conviction and aqidat, faith and trust we would have in Him. So, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You alone do we worship and you alone do we ask for help. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for inspiration to do good deeds. Allahumma inni as'aluka at-tawfiq limahabbika min al-a'mal. Oh Allah, I ask you for tawfiq, hidayat, strength, inspiration to do those a'mal which are most beloved to you. وَصِدْقَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيْكَ, and genuine tawakkul in you. وَحُسْنَ الظَّنِّ بِكَ, and to always entertain good thoughts of you. Hazrat Hakim Ifhamullah, his father, or was it him? It's slipping me now. At the time of the demise of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb, he cried and he wept profusely, and people asked him like, okay, now Hazrat is gone, okay, calm down and this and that. At that time, what was his impression? He was crying, he was touched at the separation of his beloved, his Shaykh, and then he said, who will teach us a dua like this? And he quoted this particular dua in which so much of suluk is contained. Allahumma inni as'aluka at-tawfiq limahabbika min al-a'mal wa sidqa at-tawakkuli alayk wa husna az-zanni bik. So tawfiq and hidayat and tawakkul, and the least we can do is have and entertain a good thought of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This tariq to Allah and this path to Him is so simple and asan. We just have to change our mind and our heart a bit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that Zat and that personality that we can ask kingdom from Him. We can ask from Him the wealth of this world and its treasures, and at the same time we can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for namak and danya, for salt and danya as well. We can ask something as meager as that. You know, others, you go and ask a person for some huge amount, he says, why are you asking me for this and that? Because he's not prepared to give it to you. You're asking him for sultanate and all the wealth. And then the same person, you ask him for namak and danya, he says, you've insulted me. You come and ask me here for salt. There was a person, Hazrat Wala is saying, I heard this from Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb, that a buzruk, he was there, durwesh, faqir, poor, simple, but when he is to stand, he is to stand in such a way, and maybe some type of his movements on his walk, he's standing up like that there, would be that of the style of the kings. And they said to him, but you are so poor in this and that, where did you come and where did you learn this from? So he said, that very Zat, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives kingdom to the kings, He has given me this andaz also of how to stand up like how kings would stand up. So adab-e-ubudiyat, the etiquettes of humility and humbleness in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So ihdinas sirat al-mustaqim, reaching our destination and our goal and our path. So long as we're not on the correct path, how would we reach our destination? So you wish to reach Baytullah and Arabistan, but you forgot that you have treaded the path of Turkestan. So how would you ever then reach your destination? So ihdinas sirat al-mustaqim, we ask Allah Ta'ala to guide us to the straight path, the path that will lead us to Him. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of fulfilling the haqq of Ramadan, the haqq of the Siyam. We are muhtaj. When the Nabi himself did not understand himself or attribute perfection and kamiliyat, he did not understand himself to be mukammal, then who are we then to do that? Allah purify our nufus, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with nafs mutma'innah, the contented nafs. Allah bless us with that which He blessed the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam and the Salihin with. Womenfolk have also come, and all of this is for them as well. Allah Ta'ala speaks about the Dhakireen and the Dhakirat, those males who abundantly remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those females as well. And when we adorn ourselves with this particular trait and characteristic, then Allah Ta'ala will give us the jaza of that as well. And what is the jaza? أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. Allah Ta'ala has prepared for them maghfirat and a great reward. Allah Ta'ala inspire us. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ بِحُرْمَةِ سَيِّدِ النَّبِيِّ الْكَرِيمِ صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم.